Welcome to Hochoka Podcast.
It has been said that our first task in approaching another people, another culture, another religion, is to take off our shoes, for the place we are approaching is holy. Else we may find ourselves treading on another's dream. More serious, still we may forget that God was there before our arrival. Hello, Matakiepi, and welcome to Hochoka, here at the center of St. Joseph's Indian School's campus. I'm Scott Wooster, today's Hochoka host. We continue our conversation with Father Vien Nguyen, the 16th Provincial Superior of the United States Province of the Priests of the Sacred Heart. We're delighted that he joins us again today to unpack the meaning of intentional intercultural living for the world's future and specifically for the mission of St. Joseph's Indian School. So, it's great to have you back, Father.
Thank you, Scott.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
So, Father, this year we celebrate the 100th anniversary of some newly transplanted German priests who came here to engage in ministry with the Native American people of the Northern Plains. And within only 4 years of their arrival here, they began what we sit in the center of today, St. Joseph's Indian School. The controversy of our nation's boarding school history can color a little bit the early relationship between the priests and the people that lived here. You have the heart of an SCJ, a Sacred Heart, and tell us, do you believe that when the priests of the Sacred Heart came here, as I said in the introduction, would they have taken off their shoes, so to speak?
The Native Americans have been mistreated in the United States. Unfortunately, the priests of the Sacred Heart are part of that history. Mm-hmm. Boarding school is an example. And we sincerely apologize for what has happened to the people. Mm-hmm. As Pope Francis said it, an apology is only the beginning. Mm-hmm. I myself, as Provincial, is trying to understand that history and to right the wrong. Mm-hmm. And to understand better the beauty of the Native American culture. Mm-hmm. To make sure that their dignity is respected and that they are honored. St. Joseph's is very actively engaged in this ministry, in reaching out to the people, trying to listen to their stories, how to work with them to make sure that their culture continues to be respected. Mm. And that whatever happened in the past is not forgotten. Mm-hmm. But it's a beginning to reconciliation, to forgiveness. It's a long effort, mm-hmm. An ongoing effort that requires a lot of soul searching. Mm-hmm. A lot of repentance as well, mm-hmm. and to come to the people, come to the people and ask for forgiveness, mm-hmm. And to ask for their guidance along the way too, to ensure that things like that would not happen again, or will not happen again, and that the future generations of Native Americans at St. Joe's grow up to be successful people who celebrate who they are, mm-hmm. celebrate their culture, celebrate their spirituality, most importantly, be who they are.
Mm-hmm. And I hear your heart in a good way, in a true way, Father, and I understand from what you say that it's important for folks who had been through that, the ones who are still living. It's important to be able to let them speak their truth. And yes. We talked a little bit, you and I did, about understanding everyone's interpretation and bringing everyone to the table, and it's important to hear that truth. And then to help in healing in whatever direction that might take. I like to believe, back to the original question, that the priests who came here in 1927 yes. were coming to step into somebody else's shoes and see that perspective and what's your feeling about that?
Right. So the intention, if you ask me to interpret why they came here, why the priests of the Sacred Heart came here, when they came to the States from Germany, they could have asked to be any place in the country, but they chose South Dakota because they're trying to follow the charism of our founder, Father Leo John Dae Hoon, to be with the people. And that's what he said. Go out to the people. Just don't seclude yourself in the rectory, but go out and be with the people. And so they came, our first missionaries came to South Dakota with that belief, that go to the people. And so they tried their best. Unfortunately, in my opinion, maybe they came here with limited preparation. So they brought with them with the mindset of a very European church. And so that somehow interfered in some ways, relating to people, leading the people, celebrating people's culture, helping people celebrate their culture, and so on. So maybe that's the unfortunate past that missionaries came with their own mindset. And in my opinion, much preparation was needed, but the church didn't provide that opportunity for them.
Right. And I think it's also important to acknowledge that the priests who came here in 1927 were stepping into a very complicated history between the European settlers and the native people who were here, as well as stepping into a political climate through the U.S. government that was either complicated, if you see it that way, or it was very straightforward in what their intentions were with the native people to eradicate anything that was an obstruction to them. How do you think they responded to that? It would be difficult to put yourself as an SCJ in that place. I mean, coming here in 1927, what must that have been like for them?
I'm sure that would be a very challenging mission for them to be caught in the middle. But I greatly admire their determination to change somewhat the history of the treatment of the Native American. Boarding school, in their opinion, would be one to change the trajectory of someone's future. And I also, as SCJs from Germany, I would say that they believe in education as a tool for transformation, as a tool for success in life as well, to change one's life. And that's why they took on this mission of educating young people. And that was also the mission of Father Leo John Dae Hoon too. He established youth clubs, created spaces for young people to be themselves, to make sure that they're formed in the faith, formed in the culture, and formed to be the people of justice, of social justice. For them, I would say it would be an ongoing learning, ongoing struggle, I presume, being caught in the middle.
Absolutely. And we talk about Brother Matthias, who was here 8 years after the school was founded, 1935 or so, who was befriending the native people from this area, not only educating them and teaching them European ways and how to survive in this new climate that had been built, but also learning from them. And that's still part of St. Joe's. You know, we learn from the kids, we learn from the culture, and it's heartening to me that he was doing that back in 1935, learning to bead and learning to the culture, learning this, whatever it was.
And I presume the world around that time was trying to learn or didn't know how to appreciate other cultures as well. And we see that in South America, in Asia, here in North America as well. And so I think there was no systematic way of reaching out to other people to make sure that their cultures are beautiful. are to be appreciated, are to be taken into consideration.
So we talk about Brother Matthias being here in 35 and maybe reaching out and learning from the native culture up until 1978. In the Freedom of Religion Act that went into play in 1978, the Native people were able to celebrate their culture and their spirituality once again, but it was banned until what I consider to be fairly recent, 1978. We had priests here in the 70s. Father Cassidy I was able to talk to on the podcast, who were very interested in beginning some of those cultural things, having a powwow here, having sweat ceremonies, praying in Lakota way, those things. And I think for me, here we are in 2023, and for you as well, we have all of the benefit of hindsight to see all the mistakes that have been made through the years. And here we are able to acknowledge some things and to say we wanted things to be different. But today we also, we need things to be different still than they are, and we can continue to move things ahead. When you gave your inaugural address, when you became the provincial superior, you said, God is not afraid of new things. That's a quote, right?
Yes.
And where are we called to go from here? What do we do?
For us, formation, an awareness of the need to know more about other people's culture. When I began my formation in the 90s, we were, or in the 2000s as well, we were required to take cross-cultural courses. And so I spent some weeks here in South Dakota to understand about the Native American history, about Wounded Knee. We were there. And to be on Rosebud Reservation. And also almost every summer, I would spend my summer here in Lower Blue.
Okay. Yeah.
So for me, that kind of introduction opens my mind to the reality of the people. I also appreciate the fact of the wide use of the internet. It allows us to hear other people's stories.
Yeah.
Which maybe wasn't accessible in the past.
Oh, for sure.
But for me to understand what's going on with the Native Americans in South Dakota, in the Southeast, the Southwest, what happens to the people, let's say, in the Amazon, or in the Pacific, and so on. And so, again, it broadens, I think, in my opinion, our appreciation of how people struggle, how people struggle to make their voice heard, how people are trying to stop the dominant influence from other cultures. I remember one SCJ told me that there are many dying languages in the world. There are many dying cultures in the world, and so now with the internet we can learn more about that. Let's say that dying culture and how to preserve it. And so that's where we are. And for me, learning about people's history is never ending. You always hear new perspectives from different generations, the good and the bad. And so, again, education is ongoing, learning is ongoing, and I think I and other SCJs need to experience other people's culture by going there, by being with the people, as Father Dehon would tell us. Yes.
Go out among the people. And it's easy to do that with the click of a button on the internet, which is nice, but it's always...
and that's only the beginning.
Only the beginning. Yes. I agree. So you have a passion for education, for formation, and for ensuring that those like me, who have been here for 30 years, and the folks that work day to day at St. Joseph's Indian School, the laity, as we're called, who work in the ministries, are well equipped to participate in the mission with the priests of the Sacred Heart. What kind of advice can you give to me or to the staff that work here as we go about our jobs day to day?
Thank you very much for that question. For me, what you do is not only the mission of the priest of the Sacred Heart, but it's also your mission as well. Okay, and so the two missions converge, and it becomes one. Basically, they become one mission: serving the people of God. And so, what I and my counselors try to emphasize is to empower Our Lady, encourage Our Lady to take ownership of what they do, regardless of where they are in that ministry or what they do in that ministry, but just take ownership of that. Sister Diane Bergen, who recently gave a Lenten recollection for our lay collaborators, and she emphasized it well, that whatever we do is important. Whatever we do matters. Little things, big things, they are great, and they are part of our mission, and to make to contribute to the success of the mission. So each one of us plays a vital part in that success of the mission. Be it an editor of, let's say, a media content, or be a teacher, be a custodian, whatever. Doesn't matter what we do, but it's all about the mission of the church.
Right.
A crucial component of the mission of the church.
Absolutely. And I've heard people from St. Joe's over the years say, I don't feel like I'm making a difference. I don't see results from what I'm doing. And I honestly, I've never felt that way, because I feel like the relationships that we build are so vital, and you can make a difference every minute of every day.
Exactly. And that's why Sister Diane's presentation was crucial, and that's what we try to push, to make sure that our collaborators know the importance of their ministry. I mean, the priest of the Sacred Heart is a partner. We partner with you, with the lady, to make sure that this mission continues, that we are successful in what we do, that we do this together. Not they're priests, they should be in charge, but no, it doesn't have to.
Right.
I mean, it should not be that way. St. Paul would say we are co-partners. We play crucial roles in the mission of the church.
And even though it's 100 years since the school was founded, we still have a complicated political situation, living situations, and so we all bring our own things to the table in the work that we do. But in the end, I think you say we all play an important role, and we have to, as we said, take off our shoes and step into what we do, and
take ownership of it.
Father Nguyen, it's been great having you here in Ho-Chok-a. I say Wopila to you for sharing yourself, your time, your thoughts with us. It's been good.
Thank you very much, Scott. And God's blessing on your ministry.
Wopila.
Very crucial ministries and outreach to the people of God.
Thank you. Thank you to you all for joining us here in the Ho-Chok-a at the center of St. Joseph's Indian Schools campus, where we talk about issues central to Native America today. Until next time, stay centered.